Ah, woman, ah, woman, ah, man, ah, woman, ah, women, ah, life. Isn't that great? Honestly, isn't life great? Being able to express yourself any way you want. Being able to actually do whatever you want if you just take the right steps. Not it. I really truly hope everybody out there is enjoying their lives. Like me, I really enjoy my life. Have enjoyed my life hugely for, well, through my 20s. Loved my 20s. Amazing times. Women. Ah, women. Ah, men. Ah, women. Playing music for my living. As you can see there, guitars behind me. And yeah, and to this day now, living in this great apartment. And yeah, and keeping a positive mind through everything. And saying to myself, everything's gonna be alright. And learning other languages that also say everything's gonna be alright. And keeping a good philosophy. Living a good life. And allowing the rain to depress me out there in the window. Allowing it to stop me enjoying myself. Because yeah, sometimes things happen against your control and you have to go with it. Just like the rain. I try my best always to be as truthful as possible. Society and its hang-ups and hook-ups and addiction to negativity doesn't really allow for a person like myself and others to be completely truthful. Because when you're completely truthful, you can hurt people with the truth. For an example, if somebody's wearing a piece of clothing that looks, in your opinion, brutally awful on them, and you tell them, or they ask you, or even if you tell them and they don't ask you, that's being truthful. And that doesn't work sometimes. Also, another example of not being able to be truthful is in a bureaucratic system of, say, like in my experience of being getting social welfare, you couldn't completely tell the truth there. I told them the truth at the start. I said, I'm a musician and sometimes I'm on the street and I make money on the street. And they said, oh, don't bother saying that, because then they'll ask you, then you'll have to fill out all these other paperwork sort of stuff. I can't get into the ins and outs of it, but they basically, this system, people who work in the system, let's say, not the system, the people who work in the system don't know the paperwork and bureaucracy in some areas. They agree with me and many others that it's ridiculous sometimes, the bureaucracy and bullshit, and the fact that you have to lie sometimes in order to get something. Like, for instance, insurance. Insurance companies generally don't believe people who tell the truth because they're so used to people telling lies. So my point here is that I don't lie as a principle, but in reality sometimes I do. When I was 26, I could say that I'd never lied in the system or anything like that, but that would have been from after leaving school at 18 or 19, whatever it was. So 7 years of telling the truth. Well, those people were lucky in those 7 years. They're still lucky because I'm straight talker. I have to say though, off the testosterone now, as it's really kicked in or out, kicked out, that yeah, I do really attract some fucking weirdos. But you see, the thing is, I'm not calling them a weirdo and not calling myself a weirdo. I'm calling them weirdo, and I'm also saying that I am absolutely, I've gone a bit like, fuck, weird. And, you know, a bit narky, you know, more narky than usual. So, whoa. Problems with the Zoom here. Anyway, what would I like to say? Yeah, Medusa, Anastasia, hi. You're a great person, as I've told you before. Just one thing, and I don't want to let it go, is when you sent me a private message saying, hello, Mr. Man. You know, I just, you know, I can read it, I can look at it, and I can say, yeah, well, some or most people are going to continue to call me Mr. and see me as a man. But the reality is that a man has XY chromosomes and I'm not that. And regardless of chromosomes, I believe the world to be comprising of males and females and other species of human. So in other words, there's not just males and females, so, or man and woman. So on that level, in that sense, I kind of on level resent being called Mr. And I hate having to tick on application forms or whatever forms, tick a male box. I fucking hate that, you know. I fucking hate that. So on a level, I know I don't mind you doing it. You're probably only doing it as a bit of a, like, you know, yeah, you know. But if you're not doing it in a kind of jestful way, and if you're just saying it, you know, then I'd, you know, continue to say it if you want. If you want to call me Mr., that's fine. Personally, though, I don't want to be called Mr. or Mrs. Sir is fine. No, I'm joking. And then also what I want to say to Graham is that you are getting me. Well, first, on the positive side, I'm glad that you're doing the video responses, and you mentioned that in one of your videos, the creative people or whatever video, and I only watched that video out of the 5 that you've done in the last 2 days. Yeah, Graham, you are just getting me wrong, basically, as usual. But that's fine. At least you're actually trying to get me right on certain levels. At least you watched my XXY plus Jesus video. And just in that level, I just want to make a point that I didn't say don't mention Jesus. I don't say things like that to people. Don't mention blah blah blah. I think mention everything. And I agree completely with you for mentioning prick, because he is a prick. You know, he's, I mean, the fact that he said to you that you're doing Gavin's like videos is that means obviously he is watching me, has been watching me from the start, and it gives me just more suspicion of who he is. But I wonder, is he actually posting to me? You know, I wonder, is Prickface, well, let's not call him Prickface because his name isn't Rickface, so just call him Prick. Like, Prick, why aren't you watching my videos and having the bravery or the manliness to text comment me or even, whoa, God forbid, video response? It would be nice, you know. You know. Anyway, who the man? Not you, Rick. Not you. And not you, Graham, either at the moment, but I still have faith in you for you to get better in yourself. And I'm with you on that one. I support the next videos, because you're actually getting better in the way you're talking. So that's good. Alright, ciao.